Okay, folks, happy what's left of Sunday. Not really happy about that, but it is what it is. Oh, we have an insolent box that's in the way here. There you go. Well, I came back from a war game show today. Actually, had to go to work to shore some stuff up for about 4 hours. And I did a video of what I picked up at Recon. Maybe you've already seen that. Maybe you have not. Anyways, it's out there. I do have another video that I made of something that arrived. I'm trying to figure out what the hell this thing is. Is it a piece of tape or something? No, it looks like something that arrived while I was gone. The first day I was gone, it arrived, and it arrived early. It was supposed to get here on a Tuesday. Supposed to get here day after tomorrow, and arrived early. Not sure what that is. So I did an unboxing on it as well, and I'm probably going to steal my own thunder because I'm going to mess with that. I'm not waiting until the other video will be up whenever it's up. But I did pick up a few things at Recon that were just way too inexpensive. And one of the things that I picked, what arrived in the mail, was something I was working on to complement this M4A4 and this Firefly and the other Firefly that I've got here. The other Firefly from Britannia that we're going to repaint. And that is the Plastic Soldier Company Allied M4A4 and Firefly tank set. So this is going to be 3 vehicles. And since I already have 2 Fireflies and only one M4A4, all 3 of these will be M4A4s. So then we'll have 2 Fireflies and 4 standard Shermans with a 75mm. The proportion will be about right. But most importantly, there's some extra parts in here. Not as many as I would like, but enough that we're going to use some of this blue stuff, and we're going to make extra tracks to really cover some of these Fireflies up with tracks. If you look at pictures of Fireflies, they really wanted to make sure those things survived a little bit more. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to build one and see exactly what extra parts I have, and we'll cast that stuff with blue stuff, and make some extra tracks for that with the same way we did the Panther ones. Okay, so we're gonna need our Tamiya cutters. Not these. These are the old ones that are not very good. Or are the Tamiya cutters? But it's really difficult to find things in anything other than 28mm. 28mm really even displaced 15 stuff. 15 Flames of War stuff used to be pretty easy to find. Not that I want any of that stuff. It's all 28mm this and 28mm that and 28mm the other thing. And that's fine. I mean, I don't need anything, but the good thing is if I find something to buy, it's at a flea market and it's really inexpensive because nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. It's been sitting around on the shelf for a long ass time. Hey, the Hoffman. I just came back from our local war game convention. Well, an hour and a half away. Semi-local. As local as it's going to be. So let's take one of these. And here's the instructions. So we're going to go ahead and pull. And it's a shame that so much of this goes to waste. You've got a Firefly turret that I'm not going to use. A Firefly gun I'm not going to use. But it makes sense to make these 3 as standard 75mm tanks. Because I only have one of them. And, why do I have this just a disproportionate disproportionness is because, well, that's what somebody was selling at an estate sale. So, okay, we need to pop this thing out. Yeah, I actually left earlier on Sunday than I've ever left, and went to work. And it's a good thing I did, because there was a mess waiting for me. It would have been a deluxe shit show tomorrow. Hey, Darren. Yep. Take Friday off to work Sunday. Nah, it was just 4 hours. I got more done in 4 hours than probably 10. MP Model Plastic. Saw an unboxing video. You dig those Japanese vehicles. Yeah, it's cool. They were $1 a piece. How was I not going to take that for $1 a piece? You know? So, okay, we need that, and we need the little idler wheels. So I can see what's going to be left over that I'm going to be able to recast. I have a feeling this extra piece of track. Now, they don't come with a whole lot of extra spare parts, which means I may only have this little piece here, but I've got 3 tanks, so we should be able to cast these 3 at a time, and some extra wheels and, you know, extra junk that we can add on there to keep those German shell fire from blowing these things up. Okay, and that's these here. Yeah, I was disappointed that the little Japanese self-propelled gun was only in the Philippines in 1944. I'm like, man, I want to use it in Burma. Oh, well. Okay, that's these parts. And let's get Mr. Tamiya weld cement out. Yeah, like I said, if I find something that is in the scale that I want to buy, it's a steal. Because somebody's been looking at it for so many years and nobody wants to buy it. So. Alright, I need to get rid of this abortion. There we go. A lot more zen. All right. Our X-Acto knife is... Oh, I moved it over here. Yeah, I just basically hitting the ground running. I want to get the blue stuff, and I want to start casting some of these tracks, because I can't do anything with these Fireflies and finish them until I got the extra tracks made. And I have a feeling it's going to take quite a bit of them, because the little sections aren't very big that they give you. And I was around a lot of people that were, I guess, on wash, so I picked up a little bit of a cough. I don't know if it is anything. I did a hell of a lot of talking, so I don't know. It almost feels like dryness. Didn't do a walk around video, just for the most part, just hung out. Okay, so that's gonna go there, and then we also need the track links. Yeah, I'm not leaving something for $1. I didn't even have to haggle. I don't haggle. I'm like, how much are these? $1. Okay, cool. I'll take them. There's something else that I wouldn't mind having, but he wanted $10 for. I'm like, yeah, I would have paid like $3, so I didn't really need it. And it was a white metal thing, which I'm not really a fan of working with white metal vehicles. They're a pain in the butt to drill things out of. Use epoxy. those M8 armored cars I picked up in Canada were a pain in the butt because they were multi-piece assemblies, and I couldn't assemble them all. I had basically to assemble things and then wait while other things dried before I could add more things to them, and they were a pain in the butt. That's the Rapham armored cars that I got. I mean, it turned out just fine, but it was kind of a pain. I ended up on the drive down there on Friday morning. I wanted to listen to something different other than my usual fare on Audible. I usually end up listening to things that are just too complex, and I'll get distracted. And you got to be on the ball because on the highway, there's always vehicles that are just throwing shit off of them. Whether it's pickup trucks slinging rocks or, you got to be on the ball. So I didn't want something really complicated. So I listened to a podcast of a guy that does a lot of stuff on there. His name is Dan Carlin, Hardcore History. I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with who that is. And his latest episode, I saw that he had a new episode that came up the other day, and I hadn't got a chance to watch it. I'm like, okay, well, that's pretty easy to listen to on the drive home, on the drive, this weekend. And I started listening to his program, and the program, unfortunately, was an interview that he did with an authoress, a lady author, about a book on nuclear war. And I got hooked. I got hooked on the conversation. Listened to the interview, which was about an hour long, and realized the book was on Audible, and I had expiring credits, so I got her book. And the cool thing about it is that she narrates her own book, which I'm always a fan of that. I'm always a fan of the author narrating their own book. It's kind of rare, but when that happens, you don't have to worry about them mispronouncing shit, because, well, they know. Otherwise, they wouldn't have written the book. So, yeah, kind of a morbid book, but, kind of like a what-if scenario. And it's, man, the drive went by really fast. Really, really fast. So, yeah, not something I normally listen to, but yeah, it's something a little different. I thought I was going to listen to his Pacific thing again. I forget what the hell it's called, but Fireball in the East or something like that. It's like a 6 or 7 part World War II Pacific thing, but talked about a lot of stuff that I don't know. Pacific is not my area of operations at all. I've only played land combat. I've only played one game ever of Pacific Warfare. It was in New Guinea. I want to say it was New Guinea. My buddy Jeff and I played Japanese. No, it was Mitch. It was Mitch and I played Japanese, and we had to fight some Matildas. Yeah, it was fun. I think Dan Carlin is a political commentator, not a historian, but he writes history content. Oh, what did I say? Oh, well, I made a mistake. Yeah, I don't know. He likes history. Well, I don't know. Is he more inaccurate than somebody? Yeah, he doesn't write his own stuff, but he reads other things. And as with anything, take whatever one person says with a grain of salt. I think this is the one that goes on the other side. You got to make sure that these get put in the correct way. You had a politics show, and he basically, I think Trump got elected, and he just gave up. He just it was just too, all over the place. I didn't really mind his his political show, but I'd rather listen to the history stuff. You know, I'd rather not listen to any politics by anybody at all. It's just exhausting. "20 years of sales traveling audiobooks made it bearable." There you go. What do you listen to? There's a ton of great stuff out there. You know, it makes a difference if you're listening to something like Clancy, and the guy that narrates it does all the voices. Okay, like I've got the first audiobook I ever got was on tape, and it was Rainbow Six, and unfortunately, it's abridged. Because I prefer unabridged, because it's literally word by word what the book is, you know. But abridged is like, well, maybe they cut out something that would have been my favorite thing, but I didn't know at the time. It was a long time ago. It's probably 30 years ago when I got that book, and I've listened to it I think 3 times. But the author, like, he does all the narration, including the women's voices. I know sometimes it sounds a bit like the Monty Python troupe doing women's voices, but but you know, hey, it works. You know, it's something. Oh man. A little bit like Mrs. Doubtfire at times. Panther turret for Italy. I saw your comment on there, okay? And which is the turret for Italy? I picked this thing up because it was like a freaking dollar. Okay, we have one that's flat on the ground. Okay, and we have the other one that's like on a little mini bunker, which is the Italian one. I'm going to take your word for it, man. This is not my area of operations. Which is the German one and which is the one in Italy? It was $1. I'm like, all right, what's the worst thing that can happen? I pissed $1 away, you know? How's his stuff? When I read, he's a political commentator. I worry be modern politics in his history stuff. Now he's well, he's I think he's pretty balanced. A lot of it just depends on what you want to believe, you know. I think his stuff is pretty balanced. I don't think he has an agenda. That's the important thing. Everybody makes mistakes, but there's some people that have an agenda. I don't think that he has an agenda when he's doing the history stuff. I thought what's pretty cool about him is he's a war gamer, or at least he says he's a war gamer. But I did see that at one point he was on. What's the name of that left-wing guy that I don't actually mind listening to him. I'm not left-wing, but Bill Maher. He was on Bill Maher one time, but nobody let him talk anything. He didn't say anything. But my only problem with Dan Carlin is sometimes he has really good information, but it takes him a long ass time. He prefaces it a lot. Like his intro, it might take like 15 or 20 or 30 minutes to start getting onto the subject, but he's got some pretty interesting shows. One of the snippets that's the most interesting one, I think, of anything he's ever done, and he's done a lot of stuff, is it's like a 30-minute one. It said, who had the better military, the World War I Germans or the World War II Germans? And it's really interesting to see some stuff that most people aren't probably familiar with and just assume that, you know, it might not be what people assume. So that was actually a pretty interesting show. It's on YouTube. So the flat one is late war Berlin. The one on top of the bunker is more like the Italian ones. All right, which is the one that's broken? The Italian one. Okay, well, we can fix it with epoxy. So this is more Berlin? Okay. Well, I don't know who makes this one. This one is actually made by a company called Leva. And I remember them being, back in the day, we'll do the Italian one first. You're going to chew me out if I do? Well, you don't need two of them in this scenario. I mean, you know. Yeah, a panther turret in Italy is a problem because at least in Berlin, there's some there's some big nasty guns that can take that out. Of course, the big nasty guns that can take that out fire very, very slow. You know, you take something like a JS2 or one of the JSUs or something like that. They're not a very fast firing vehicle. We need to take our. We don't need any jewelry for this. So yeah, we got some Brits coming. The decals should have already been here. They got mailed on Tuesday, but they're not here, so we can't do those. There's a scenario in my Face of Battle rules that isn't huge. A lot of their scenarios are really, really big, and it seems pretty reasonable. And it involves the 8th Armored Brigade, which unfortunately is an independent unit, meaning it's not part of a division. It was supporting the 50th Infantry Division, landed on Gold Beach, and supported the 50th Infantry Division for a while. And it has a little symbol, almost like a, I don't know what it is, whether it's a badger, a little fox, or something like that. They increased the top armor and side armor to withstand artillery. Some colleges have their lectures up on YouTube. Those are usually what I listen to. Yeah, if I know somebody's got a slant, I don't even want to listen to it. Like those German general memoir things, I don't want to listen to those things. They're full of crap. You know, they're just like that one from General Rouse. I'm like, oh, this is great because it's got the scenario where, you know, you've got those Panzer 35s that stood up to that KV. Well, they didn't stand up. It was the KV-1 that stood up to the whole Panzer division and held them up for, what is it, a week or something like that? And it was a pain in the butt, whatever it was. So he was supposedly there, and he also was one of the guys that was in the relief force that was trying to relieve Stalingrad during Operation Wintergewitter. So I'm like, oh, this ought to be a pretty interesting stuff. And I'm listening. Yes. I'm listening to his memoir, and it's full. Basically, what this memoir reads like is like he's God's gift to Panzer warfare, and if they had just cloned him, the Germans would have won the war. Well, I guess it's a good thing that the Germans didn't have cloning technology, or he's full of shit. But anyways, he's a bit self-serving. I couldn't listen to it anymore, you know. So. You know, the German generals' memoirs are very similar to Russian World War II movies. You know, they're just full of crap. You know? You get them for the visuals, but not for the history. Okay, so there's the 2 tracks on that. We're going to get the hull and make sure we get the right hull. Well, I shouldn't look at that. It's the one that has the whole machine gun on it, which is this one right here. Let's pull that little guy out. Like I said, as soon as I identify which are the extra pieces of track, I mean, I could probably do it now, but let's just be safe. I'm going to go ahead and cut them all out, and we'll cast them in blue stuff, because we're going to have some of these Fireflies that are going to be covered in these tracks. Like if you look at them on most of the pictures. So. Yeah, any of these guys that do books and stuff, they're going to make mistakes. The question is, did they make a legitimate mistake, which we all do, or does he have an agenda? You know, does he want to bring some things up and obfuscate others to push a narrative point? Yeah, I'm not interested in that. Just tell me just tell me the damn history as best you can. But, you know, that's also subject to your own personal interpretation. You know, because there's one guy I like to listen to, although he's a little distracting because he ends his sentences all the same way, with an inflection, and if you pay attention to it, it's like, oh, but and that's tick history, and some people don't. I mean, he gets into big arguments with people. Like he basically, like, people complain about what it is, and he engages them. I'm like, just leave him alone, man. Some people are out there just to cause trouble. I think he's pretty balanced. And he reads a lot of stuff from different viewpoints. He doesn't just jump on board and say, yeah, this is what this book says. But I think he seems pretty... I don't think he has an agenda. I don't know. Okay, so there's these two things. We're going to need the front part here. Okay, and we're going to need these two pieces that are like the reinforcing. They're either reinforcing or they hold it all together. Regardless, they go on there. Okay, and yeah, these are probably extra pieces here, and it gives you the optional skirts, which I'm probably not going to use. They're forced upon me on this cast on that on the Matchbox Firefly. I'm probably not going to use them on the other three. Okay, what else is on there? We'll wait on that box all the way in the back there. Like those turrets stuck to the ground, the Lake Berlin. Well, I don't think I like them, but like I said, they were $1, and I think it works okay for a scenario, like, you know, shut that thing up, you know. Might be good for a solitaire scenario, you know, or a scenario for everybody. I mean, you know, for all the I got 3 JS2s, I got an SU-152, which is not really what I think of late war, but I got two SU-100s, a JSU-122, and 3 JS-22. Yeah, GS2s. Yeah, I think I got enough firepower to take one of those bastards out. Might be a good scenario. Although I'm not interested really in getting any German looking buildings, but with that said, I've got a couple of ones from the Queen's Hussars that'll probably work. They're kind of generic. Who bought their molds? There's somebody that's still doing them. Their molds, and I've got 2 big buildings. They're like right across the street from each other, and yeah, that might actually be okay. It might actually be okay for a scenario. I picked this up at a Christmas store. It's about half an hour south of us, many years ago, and it's basically a piece of vinyl that has cobblestone on it, and you know, it just needs to be dry brushed and probably look pretty decent. And there's a street, put your buildings on it. I think. Yeah, I think the Panther turrets would be good for that. You know. I just like us starting off with a scenario because there's already these victory conditions and there's limited time. I mean, it's only 4 turns. You know, so there's only, let's see, 2 actions for each person per turn. Yeah, each person is only going to get 8 actions before the scenario's done. It just limits the scope of it. All right, let's get a little bit of sanding stuff here. Yeah, the turrets stuck to the ground are about as unattractive as that RSO pack that I have. God, that thing is ugly. But, you know, not all German vehicles can be beautiful or wicked looking. That one's a bit much. Oh, I found the jackpot the other day. I found a website where somebody listed. Let me back up a little bit. So the tanks in this scenario are from the 3rd, 4th, 7th Hussars. No, they are. I'll tell you right now what they are. A squadron of 4-7 Dragoon Guards, which is one of the regiments inside the 8th Tank Brigade. Okay? And it's 4 tanks. It's a Firefly and three Sherman 5s. Okay? A squadron. So all tanks will be A squadron, which is and that's actually that regiment. The 4th 7th Dragoon Guards is the senior regiment in that tank brigade. So it will have the 51 in red, and it's also going to have the triangle in red on the turrets, or the whole sides, depending on which one we decide to do for them, or maybe mix them up or something like that. And also because it's A squadron, if they have any names, they're names that start with A. So in doing that, I actually was surfing around and I found a website where somebody had compiled in I'm going to say Excel, but it's really a document, it's a PDF, of every single name that they came across and examples and what tank brigade they or regiment they went through, where was and what the vehicle was of every single name A through Z that they came across. It's insane. It's insane. So I actually took a glance through there and I didn't actually see any units that were of the 4th, 7th Dragoon Guards. But it tells me how there's a lot of names that are repeated. There's popular names. So I'm probably going to name them some of those. All with A's. All 4 of the vehicles. But let me know if you're interested in what that website is. It's crazy. It's I appreciate when somebody's like super anal retentive about stuff like that. Like went and compiled like they had seen like maybe a picture of a tank and it was named Ambuscade or Apollo or something like that. So they'd write down Apollo. It's an M4A4. It was with the Desert Rats in Normandy in August of '44, whatever it was, and it was tank number T25. So and some of the sometimes the information was omitted because you couldn't tell what the stuff was in the photograph, but pretty freaking cool. I remember a scenario in a War Games magazine in 1970s that had the Germans defending a hill line in Italy with 2 elephants and a Panther turret pillbox. Played something 3 issues. Let's bump it, and while we're bumping it, let's put live chat on because it doesn't default on that. Played over 3 issues. Yeah. Italy. Well, the cool thing about Italy is there's different paint schemes there. Okay, so this is all pretty much good to go. Let's see how this is how the fit and finish is on here. I leave the door to the laundry room open. I always do that. It just makes it extra loud. Daughter comes back for the summer this evening, so we'll be doing some war movie watching, because I'm really not going to watch that by myself when I could be doing this. I think I only played 2 games at the convention. Pretty much just went there to hang out and talk to people. Which is why it sounds like I'm losing my voice, because, man, I talked a lot. Oh, I probably could have put some on the inside of this. I hated this stuff when I was a kid. You know, kids don't have the patience to wait for this to weld together. All right, same thing on this side. I really wish Plastic Soldier Company had started off with the American vehicles, not Germans. Like, everybody makes all the German shit, you know? I want to make some M10s, man. I can't find any M10s that are affordable. The Armor Fast ones, even if they were affordable, they're like seem like they're out of production, and they're still missing all the details inside the turret. So that would look like a shit show, anyways. Okay, we need to put the top of this first before we go and put this, so that we have a good fit like that. Perfect. Now, let's be careful so we don't have a problem. I have a set of tweezers around here that's not very useful most of the time. And I don't know where it is right now. It's the ones that stay open under pressure. So I'm actually going to force this in there. Now I minimize the chance of leaving a stupid fingerprint on this stuff. Had several people that were trying to convince me to play that it was okay for me to play DBA, even though I said that I wasn't ever going to play again. I said, well, you don't know me. I said, when I say I'm not going to do something, I'm not going to do it. You don't have to keep your word. I said, yes, I do, because nobody else does. Nope. And they did not have a lot of players. They could have used me to get up to like 6 or 5. People just don't want to play the game. It's a great game. I don't hate the game. I don't hate the people that play. I hate the people that don't play it. It's a great game. Could it be better? Oh, hell yeah. We supposedly had quite a few people at the show playing Art de la Guerre. I doubt in 5 years they'll be playing it again. Maybe I'm wrong. Some people are just nomadic. They're just going to go to the next game system, you know. Always looking for the next shiny thing. Let's let's use this so we don't. There we go. It's got a lot of little rivets to put on there. A lot of little rivets to paint a little black smudge around there. What did I play, by the way? Did I say? I did not. Okay, so I got there on Friday morning and I hung out for the first session. Basically just talked to folks I hadn't seen in a while. Session 2. I think I got talked into playing a Command and Colors one game with Joel. Battle of Blenheim, which we barely won with the as a French. But it's Command and Colors, so it's a fun game. But Joel loves Command and Colors. I think it's a good game. It just does not motivate me to read any history about what I just played. So in that respect, for me, it's a fail as a historical game. I don't go and play it. I want to read more about that battle because it's just kind of a generic game. It's a good game, you know, and it's challenging, and you get to roll a lot of dice, but it doesn't satiate my anything for historical knowledge. It doesn't satiate my thirst for historical knowledge. Ooh, big words today. At night I didn't play anything because like at 10 o'clock I'm like trashed. I'm like, and I don't mean by, you know, drinking, but I mean just like I'm tired. And I didn't do that much drinking. Although we did find a Japanese ramen place that was kind of like a little fast food restaurant, like not fancy. You order with a menu and stuff and it showed you the picture and it was super clean, super clean. And they had all the Japanese beer there. It wasn't on tap, but you know, if you wanted Sapporo or Asahi Super Dry or Kirin, all of it was there. So once we discovered it, ate there a couple times for sure. That was one of the highlights of the trip, no doubt about it. Yesterday I was signed up to play a Pig Wars game in the morning, 28 millimeter by this guy that always puts on a really good game. It's actually the only thing I was signed up to play in advance. And what did I play yesterday afternoon? Yesterday afternoon, nobody showed up to play a DBA game, so the DBA guys put together like a naval game they were playing. That was a lot of fun. We didn't get to finish it, but we got to play some of that. And then again, yesterday evening, didn't do anything. And this morning, I just basically got up, had breakfast with the guys, and took off. I took off, and I needed to make sure that I didn't have a nightmare I was walking into tomorrow. And it was actually a lot worse than I was expecting. There's a lot of things that didn't get done, and it would have been a shit show had I not showed up. So, you know, people go like, "Oh man, you have to take Friday off and then work on Sunday." I said, "Well, I had to shore some things up on Sunday, and if I didn't do that, then I basically would have had to go in tomorrow at like 5 a.m. And I don't want, actually, and it still would have been behind. I would have had to go in at like 3. I think if I'd gone in at 3 a.m., and it's like, just fuck it, just go in today. There's no one there. I can wear shorts, I'm comfortable. I can talk to myself and kick some ass, you know? So it was, you know, it feels good to kick ass. So... And I knew when I left that I had to do that. It's not like, surprise, you got to go in tomorrow, you know? All right. Turret subassembly, but it only shows the Firefly one. Oh, I see some things here. So I love Plastic Soldier Company, right? But they don't describe every single thing. So like, for instance, here is the blue parts are what we're worried about to make this particular vehicle here. There's 2 mantlets. So when do you use this one? When do you use that one? Well, we got to cut the turret out. So let's cut the turret out. Okay. M4A4 turret. I don't know what this little, that's definitely an early mantlet. It almost seems like it'd be a part with like one of the early Shermans, and they just threw it in here on the sprue, which is fine, except that they show that it goes with it, but I know better. But I still love Plastic Soldier Company, except their name. I wish they had a more distinct name. Because it's like, you explain to somebody, well, who makes that model? Plastic Soldier Company. Okay, yeah, but what's the name of the company? Plastic Soldier Company. I know they're made out of plastic. You told me, but what's the name of the company? You could just go around in circles. Need something a little bit more distinct. Okay, any of you British tank experts, can you answer a question for me that is mysterious as shit to me? And the question involves painting the barrel of the Firefly so that it's camouflaged. All right, I get half of it was painted like white, but why did they paint the end? Why did they paint the top of the half with wavy dark color? That doesn't make any sense. You should paint it like blue, like the freaking sky, not dark green like the tree line. It doesn't make sense. And I've looked at it and I can't find the answer to that. And I really don't want to ask on a Facebook group because I'm going to get the wrong answer. All the experts will come out and they won't know anything. I've been there. I've had that done to me. This half of the barrel, actually, yeah, from about here out, is painted white, right? So it's camouflage because these guys were a target. German saw a long tank. They're like, all right, let's shoot at that guy first. But the top half of this part painted white has wavy, and it's either in the same base color as this or an even darker color. Like, why? It doesn't make sense. Like, if you looked at it, the horizon's not darker than the land below you. The sky is not darker than... It no make no sense. Can I glue this stuff on here? Yes, I can. All right. So we're going to consult books. Actually, we're not going to consult books because I don't think the Sherman books, the Squadron Signal Sherman books, don't even cover the British Shermans. They don't cover the British Shermans. I don't know why. So I'm going to take a look at M4A4 gun mantlet. Well, here's a little one. All right. I'm going about this wrong. Scale mates it is. M4A4. Sherman 5. Well, that doesn't even have a barrel in it. That must be like a command one or an observation one. M4A4 Sherman Early. And it has the little one. Let me get my squadron signal one, and let's see if in fact there is no info on it. I remember there not being hardly any information on the British ones. Let's go to the part where it talks about the M4A4. Squadron signal is excellent because it has little line drawings like this of different versions of the vehicle, and when stuff changes, it's kind of noted on there instead of like trying to squint and seeing if the photograph really shows that. So let's go. This is late M4A1, M4A3, M4A3 mid-production. Come on, show me the British stuff. M4A3 wet stowage, field modified, the jumbo, 76 millimeter Shermans, M4A1, M4A3. They just omitted the freaking British Shermans completely. Rat bastards. Well, I'm not going to put it on. I'm not going to assemble this thing until I come up with the right answer, because this is actually a cool looking Sherman, I think. This one right here. Like sometimes a star can have a circle around it just for variety. I use them both. I mix them up. It's not the sexiest tank, but I think it's an endearing looking tank. All right. I have the new Vanguard from Osprey. See if there's Brit stuff on there. Yeah, this cough's going to drive me crazy, isn't it? Some grade on wash was probably sick or whatever, and hopefully it didn't last too long, so I don't drive everybody crazy, including the people that I live with. Well, here's the M4A4, and it has the little mantlet, meaning it's just really, really small. Like this little piece right here. This little blue one, as opposed to that blue one. Where is it that it's noted on there? Is it 12? Browning, zero star, laser, direct from periscope, commander, seat Jensen. It's not listed on here. Okay. Let's keep going. I bet that's what it is. It's early and late. So we'll just find out when they use the early one. If not, we'll use the late one. Doesn't say. Okay, it's all right. Can't give up. You never come up with the right answer. Let's see, the book that I just got this weekend, Sherman Walk Around. I bet it probably only covers one Sherman tank, though. It says M4 Sherman. Hopefully it's not just the M4 version. Because this is an actual, like, No, that's a 76 millimeter gun turret. Okay. All right, it's got different Shermans in here. That's good. M4A1. Okay, here we go. Well, here's the holes. Bogey assemblies. Show me a mantlet. Japanese beer tastes different here. Painting the 17 barrel in that fashion only partly as camouflage, also to confuse the German gun sights that may have been able to see through the deception. Yeah, but why is the top part dark? It doesn't make sense. I would have done it the other way. I would have put the dark on the bottom and the light on the, it just, you can't blend into the tree line. Okay, the original gun mount equipped with a narrow mantlet was designated M34. The coax machine gun is just visible beneath the 75 millimeter gun barrel. The M34 lacked a direct periscope. The M34 lacked a direct telescopic sight. Okay. A number of early M34 mounts were modified for telescopic sights. The mantlet had an extension welded on the right to cover the sight. The weld beads on this mantlet run vertically. This is 76 millimeter gun tanks, including jumbos. Okay. I will get the right answer. Okay, so we're going to use our Google Foo, and what we're going to Google Foo is M4A4 early mantlet. And we're going to go to all. War drawings. Okay, that didn't go anywhere. The Sherman tank site. Well, there's a good place to go. This page will cover the two turrets that came on Shermans and the components found in and on them. I've been cleaning up a lot of images found in poorly scanned technical manuals. Okay? Sherman tanks saw combat with two turret types. The first turret it saw combat with was the blah 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 mounting M34 gun mount with an M3 75mm gun mounted on it. The earliest version of this turret had a rotor sight coupled to the gun, but these were replaced by improved casting. Okay. Basic casting would be used even though a weak spot was discovered through late 43 by putting a large patch of armor. Okay, in this image of a direct early vision M4A4, we can see a typical early D50-878 with a thin spot in the armor to the gunner's right front. Okay, there's your thin mantlet right there. That's a different turret. That's a T-23 turret. Yeah, for the 76 millimeter gun. All right, here's some other sights. British Shermans, is it a tank or a teapot? Sunken. I think that's the one we need to go to. Shermans of the United Kingdom, or let's confuse people with even more with an odd designation system. Okay. M44 was named Sherman 5, right? It was by far the most common British Sherman. They received 7,167 M44s or Sherman 5s, almost the whole production run. Chrysler went to bat for this version of tank, sent reps for Europe. There were no subtypes of the Sherman other than the Firefly, since it was never produced with a 76 millimeter gun or HVSS suspension. Okay, this Sherman 5 has the big mantlet. I'm going to put the big mantlet on it and move on. I feel pretty comfortable with that decision. I don't know about an early M4A4. I don't think the M4A4s were that early. Okay, and I suspect that we're going to need this part behind it. That's common to all of them. We already pulled the turret out. Of course, the cough could be allergies, because I didn't start coughing until I made it back here. And this is a pollen place. Hold on, why don't I hear the washer? Because it's quiet. Okay, so this is the mantlet that goes on there. I'm going to do one final check. I'm going to do Sherman 5. So the scenario actually calls for this to have Sherman 5. If you go to the Flames of War site, and it literally tells you in Northwest Europe which units had Sherman 5s, which had Sherman's 3, which one had Sherman 3s. This unit, the 4th, 9th, Royal Dragoons, or whatever the hell they were, can never remember the name of this unit. Dragoon Guards have Sherman 3s. Well, the scenario calls for 5s. I'm building 5s. Tough titty. I had already ordered these anyways. M4A4 British Sherman mantlet. And let's look at pictures, images. Yeah, here it is with this one. Yeah, that's what we're going to use. Looks better anyways. Yeah, this drawing. Just picture the firefly. So here's the end of the barrel. Why is the top of it painted green? That doesn't make any sense. And it makes sense for all of it to be white, or green on the bottom and white on the top, but not green on the top. Okay. Let's go ahead and glue this on here. So it rides on the inside and then rides on the outside there. Let's do the old trick with this first. Rides on the inside. And Plastic Soldier Company doesn't fool with the, well, we'll make it so that the gun can rotate up. Like, we don't care. You know, we want a level gun. We're not doing, you know, indirect artillery fire with this vehicle. And then this mantlet will consist of this first, after we trim it, of course, and that piece on top of it. So everybody missed the hobby session this morning? Trust me, I'd rather be here doing the hobby session, but I wasn't in town. You get to do some of it. Oh, I see. It's got this piece of flash in there it shouldn't have. Okay. Fits all right on it. And then we'll put this on top of it. And then this basically fits on here without gluing it. So let's not glue it for now. Partly disruptive, like Dazzle, to break up the straight line. All right, well, I'll paint it that way. Maybe I'll paint one with it and one without it. That way we get to mix them up a little bit. Your Hasegawa ship comes in tomorrow. As soon as I try to put together, as soon as I can. Oh, there was somebody at the flea market that was selling a bunch of 1/700 scale ships. And they're already built. And they had two ships were the two ships I had. I think they were Hasegawa or they were Tamiya. I can't forget which one they are. I like both of those brands, or I did like both of those brands. And they're both Japanese, so I get them mixed up. I know Tamiya's got the corner on the instructions. They're just the most pleasant instructions of all. Okay, and the 75 millimeter is right here. Yeah, he had a model of the Rodney, and he had a model of the Scharnhorst. That's the two that I had. I wasn't tempted to get them. I'm not getting sidetracked into scenario where I'm not going to do anything with them. let's go ahead and put a little prick here in the center, so that when we drill out with the pin vise, it can get a purchase on that. Oh, I know you're here. This can go here. Here it is. You rat bastard hanging out over here. Really unlikely for it to be the correct size. Are there any companies that do Korean warships? You mean like well, I don't know, is something like an Iowa class battleship that different? I mean, it probably just have more electronics, but it still has the dual purpose 5-inch guns. I think that was the only battleships that they used during that time period. I think everything else had been mothballed by then. The Korean War 1950, pretty sure the only U.S. battleships would have been the Iowa class. North Carolina had already been decommissioned. And I don't think that the South Dakotas and Alabamas and Indiana, or what's the third one, Massachusetts, I don't think that they went to the Korean War. So it'd be like Alabama. I mean, not the Alabama. It'd be like an Iowa class battleship. Some of the Essex class were still around, aircraft carriers. The Midways, I think, were already out, because the Midways aren't a nuclear carrier. They're Oh, well, we got to turn that off, or that's going to be annoying. Let's go ahead and turn that volume off. And let's see if this is of note. Ah, okay, Jeffrey. Here's a link to a page on Firefly barrels. Oh, they even painted a false muzzle brake? That's crazy. Okay, I will definitely look at that. And if there's a couple different ways to do it, I'll make one way and one the other. Thank you, sir. We want to do it right, man. We don't want to do things wrong. Everybody likes fireflies. Or maybe if somebody doesn't like fireflies, it's probably the one dickhead that doesn't like Spitfires either. There's that one guy out there. If somebody would have said, hey, there's somebody who probably doesn't like Spitfires, I'd be like, nah, you're kidding. Nobody dislikes a Spitfire. Well, nobody but that one troll. Yeah, don't have to go very deep on this. Just enough to see something. There you go. And we're going to use something that's a little bit... Oh, here's another trick I learned from somebody. I don't know who it was, so I can't give them credit. But it wasn't my idea. You could use the back side of this, of the X-Acto knife, to take the mold line off. Because it won't leave a flat spot. Not my idea. Some brilliant person came up with it. And the cool thing is the back spot of the X-Acto knife never gets unsharpened. Because it doesn't get used, you know? Just for good measure. You prefer the Hurricane. Well, I like the Hurricane too. Why can't you have both? I like the Hurricane too. Except in Soviet colors. I don't like the Soviets using Allied stuff. I can handle them using a Studebaker truck, that's about it. I don't like them using anything else. Okay. Now, This is definitely pieces we're going to cast in. Because what do we got left? We got stuff with the turret. We got some of these things, which is the back side of the track. That also gets cast. All right, we're going to do them as well. That's really what I wanted to do, is take these pieces out so we can cast more of them. Okay, so we're going to take this. Yeah, there's a jerry can there. We'll not worried about jerry cans at this moment. Okay, that's those. And the track here. And we're going to fire up some blue stuff. Obviously, we're going to trim that, or every piece you make ends up having flash on it. That would be silly. Okay, that's those pieces. So let's grab the other sets of those. Wait for somebody to pipe in. You can't make copies of that. Yes, I can. I'm not going to even give them to somebody. Go out and buy your own model, make your own copy. You know? I don't do dishonorable shit. I'm not from Miami. Just like when I was teaching people how to play 3.0, right? I made a copy of the 3.0 rulebook, and I copied it in plastic. I put it in the sheets, protective, because I'm going to teach people how to play the game, right? I'm going to make more money for the Barkers. And then when I decided a couple of weeks ago that I definitely was never going to play DBA, actually decided a year and a half ago, but I found my rules, I actually threw those photocopies away. I didn't give them to Mitch. I didn't give them to somebody else that didn't buy the rules. If that's illegal, challenge me to a duel. Don't sue me. I'm tired of lawyers getting rich on other people's problems. No, I'll challenge you to a duel. We'll go out and do, something easy to hit, like 3 paces. How was the show last week? I had a great time having no responsibilities and catching up with people. That's exactly what I wanted it to do. Wanted it to be. I did not play any DBA. I didn't discourage anybody from playing it either. Okay, so I should have 3 sets of everything, right? I feel like I don't have that. Am I missing something? Let's see. There's 3 of these, which are the road wheels. There's 3 of these. These we got to make a shitload of. And we got to make a shitload of these. This one, I don't really like this one. It's just kind of sitting on here, but I'll make them anyways. So let me just trim these up, and then we'll fire up some blue stuff and make some molds of it. And then we'll do 1 set, leave them overnight. It's going to take probably 3 or 4 days to get however many you want. Show was good. The temperature was actually, this is not a complaint, cold at times. I don't ever complain about being cold. Never. Unless you're talking about something like going in the springs, going in cold water, yeah, count me out. But cold temperature, I'm insulated enough for that. The noise level is always a problem when you're in the big room. You either have to scream at somebody else, or I don't hear well to begin with, and I really don't do well when there's a lot of extra noises. A lot of extra sounds on other tables and stuff like that. Wish there had been more things to buy, but I don't really need anything. Looks like I'm going to have to mail order my Tufts because nobody carried them. The Gamers Grass Tufts. Another reason why I hadn't been basing anything yet. I'll just do a lump basing when the time comes. But everybody's like, hey, what are you playing? I'm like, I just came to hang out with people, play a few games. And it's hard to get excited about playing a game when you don't know who the hell's going to be in your game. There could be somebody that was like a fuddy-duddy. I didn't play with any of the... I didn't play a ton of games, but I didn't play with anybody that was a problem. So that's good. And before I started, I played this Pig Wars game, and I've talked about the scenario where this guy had put on this game about a year and a half ago or a year ago or something like that from Lying Rampant. This guy had picked up these 28 millimeter figures and picked them up like this. It was like 10 of them or 10 or 12 and just dropped them somewhere else and was going to move. Instead of moving them individually, he was just going to, and the GM had his mouth agape. And I reminded him of that scenario and said, if somebody does that, I'm a light into them. Not going to touch a person. I'm going to call them everything under the sun. Not cool. It pissed me off. Actually, I should have said something to him. I was like, I don't want to be aggressive. Now, I just get to the point now. It's like, if you're a dickhead and nobody stood up to you for something, I'm going to be the person that's going to stand up to you. May not make you change your ways, but I'm not going to let you get away with it. You're like, dude, put on some deodorant. We didn't run into those people, but I'm going to show up in my rocking chair. You stinky bastard, put on some damn deodorant. We're just being rude. The guy's 60 fucking years old. Put on some deodorant. You should know better. How do people keep a job and not wear deodorant? Or shower? Or brush their tooth? Anyhow, no problems there. Everything was good. He could have. Let's see what we got here. He could have pooed himself, Tony. Oh well. Some people are into that. I had a girlfriend back in the 90s. I had this girl that I dated back in the 90s. And she was doing something at university where she had to not do community service, but she had to go to the jail and visit her psychiatric ward. She was doing one of them idiot sociology degrees or something like that. And she had to go to the prison or jail or something like that and see these people. And one of them was a guy that she said, this is a girl telling me this, that he would shit himself for attention. Roll the one and poot a little. Maybe a 1 on 1,000 sided dice, but not on a 6-sided dice. That's a lot of pooing on yourself. That comes off, that 17% chance, that's way too often to be pooing. Yeah, you said this guy he would shit his pants for attention. Never occur to you that, I mean, there's a cute girl, that's the one time I'm not going to poo my pants, even if I'm into it. There's some weird people out there. There's some weird cats. All right, do all three of them fit in here? And then which way do I have to do it? I don't think I can squeeze that one in. I need to Let's look at some Sherman tracks and see which way it's sticking out. Maybe, you know, if it's both ways, I can do whichever one's most. I can do one like this, and one the other way. You know, mix it up a little bit. We're going to cast a bunch. We're going to go to Sherman Firefly. And let's look at images, and we're going to see all kinds of shit on here. Okay, the ones that are on this particular vehicle do not have the prongs up. Okay. Okay, so it has this side up. All right, let's look at this one. This one has that side up. This one has a ton of tracks on it. And most of them are this side up. Okay, I'm going to not put any with the nubbins out. So they're going to go down like this. We'll use this one for the 3 road wheels, which need to be down. And then these can also fit on another one like this. I don't want to undo anything that I have, so I'm actually going to fire up the clear piece, and use it for that. I went to the ramen place. The owner recognized me when we came back. And she goes, "You want to try something different?" I'm like, "Nope." I just wasn't going to take that kind of a risk. I'm like, "Nope, this was really good, the last thing I have. We will stick with that." What I am going to do is I'm going to cut this thing in half. And that way this thing isn't cooling so darn fast while I'm pushing these things on. Okay? And any of these that are flat should work fine. All right, let's go fire up some, let's go nuke some water. The water nuker. I'm going to be doing this a lot more in the future. Because this is super cool. This is just, I should have been doing this a long time ago. When you guys turned me on to this stuff, I don't know which one it was. Might have been Ben. Might have been Ben Waddy. I'm thinking it was. Speak up or he'll steal your thunder. That'll get an opportunity to use this new stuff. Not the Army Painter one. This one. The one made by Neatitite. Okay, here we go. Let's do another 30 seconds. And I'm going to go use the restroom. I'll be right back. overkill on the amount of water here, but it was right there on the counter. I'm like, I'm grabbing it. All right, let's do a little road wheels first. I don't want to do more than one. Nine viewers, welcome, folks. I'm gonna use this. What's this stuff called? Oyamaru Hutokaka? What? I don't know what it is. Hino de washi. Hino de washi. Oyumara, I believe, is what it is. I go on too many cruises. Every time I see that, I'm like, oh, Hino de washi washi. Happy, happy. You know? Okay, let's take this. Put these face down. Should have enough space for 3 of them. Need to hurry a little bit. Not the time to fumble. And we're going to take these and we're going to push them down. And what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to go even. Wow, may not be hot enough. May not be hot enough. It's not hot enough. Okay. Let's let this melt for a while. Yeah, you want to push it so that these little blocks help. So that way, you know, you just push them with something like this so it's even. So the back end is a constant depth. I found that real easy when I was doing the tracks. Unfortunately, it means sometimes you've got too much material here in depth. Not so much for these guys because, you know, you need some stuff behind it to give it some strength. Otherwise, there's not enough around it. Somebody was telling me that the blue works better than the clear. I haven't used the clear at all, but we're going to find out. And I'm just going to hold it down like so. I need to pick up some Legos and just make a tiny little space. But man, Legos are expensive. I wonder if I shouldn't have done it on this. It's going to pick some of this up. Oh well, shit happens. Welcome to the Mistake Channel. I don't make any mistakes I can't fix though, so that's good. And that'll work. Okay, that should have stopped it from doing its thing. I'm gonna leave that in there for a little bit. All right, what's this? How? Let's try it. And let's hold it down underwater. Stuff's pretty cool, but the coolest thing about this is that it's completely reusable. I'm sure there's a lifespan on it. You can't just use it for like 20 years. But it's gone up in price significantly. I remember we're going to put this one here. We're going to do this one here. I remember when I got this, like, I think it was like $10 or something like that. And last time I wanted to get some more of this, I mean, just to kind of compare, it was like $30. It's made completely in Japan, supposedly, just like my car. All right, let's see if we've... Come on. Gotta hustle. We're going to do them all this side. That one was kind of questionably, like, maybe not high enough. We don't care that it doesn't have the little cleats. We're going to put it flush on the tank. All right, so this one's cooled down. We're going to push these pieces out, and we should have a little mold that we can mix in with blue stuff. Now, interesting, there's a piece of plastic here. So let's go ahead and pull that out. I don't know what effects that is going to have. Okay. Might not be very deep, might not be deep enough. Haven't used a clear before. I can't drop them both. They could become one. I wish they wouldn't float, but then they get stuck to the bottom. That'd be bad too. I hope I don't fuck up my cutting board. No whammies, no whammies. Oh yeah. I'm gonna recast this one. It's not deep enough. Let's hold this bastard down. When I use that first piece of clear, that's the first of the clear that I've used. It was literally half blue, half clear. And if it's just a matter of the blue is better because you can tell where the casting holes are, you know, where the recesses in the casting are, then it's not that big of a deal. Okay, let's make sure we use the spot that doesn't have anything on it. Put one there. Put one here. Put one here. Come on. There we go. This seems like it's the same material of like the cartridges, the ammo for the glue gun. That's what it looks like. It's like a, you know, the one where you just add those tubes or squares into it. That's what this stuff seems like it is. Oh fuck! This one went sideways. Oh well. We only got 2 castings out of this one. Not a big deal. As long as you don't fuck up the original. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. Let's cut this piece off. recast it. And you can mold this in whatever shape you want it to be. You know, it's like a piece of gum. Honestly, is what it seems like. I'm just going to come in here. Oh, this side. And just push it down. And the back of it, I want it to be smooth anyways. I don't need it to have these teeth. All right, let's pull these pieces off. Okay, so we got a casting for that. Got a casting for the wheels. I'm going to make another set here. Come on, man, stop fumbling. There was always fumbles. Extra points if you know where that's from. All right, so we got molds for the tracks. We got molds for these other tracks. We got molds for these as well. Let's put the originals in here. I'm gonna make another set of these tracks. We need a lot of them. Some of these fireflies have the whole turret wrapped with stuff. We use the full strip house. Let's see if we don't have to nuke it again. Uh-oh. We got people here. One moment. Okay, well, that's a wrap on this one, folks. I got stuff to unload in the car, so we will. I'm going to recast this one later, but that's how this stuff works. Tonight I'll probably cast some of these, and we'll see the next time we do a show how they look like pulling them out of there. So, you guys have a good night. Thanks for stopping.